Hello students, this is Vaishnavi.
Sound was okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Korea, and in this video we'll continue our discussion on character arrays and strings. Now we can perform certain arithmetic operations on the characters. Okay, because every character has an ASCII value associated with it. Okay, so we can perform the arithmetic operations on it. So C allows us to manipulate the characters the same way we do with the numbers. Okay, so here the example is given where two character variables are taken, right? And in one this variable ch1 we have stored 7, but this 7 has been written in the single quote. Okay, so that's why it will be treated as character, right? After that, one character array has been taken in which we have stored 1, 2, 3, right? And this 1, 2, 3 is stored in double quote. It is written in the double quote. So that's why it will be treated as a string. Okay, so now what we are doing here, first we have stored the small a in the ch variable and we are printing that value. Okay, so if you print this ch variable's value using %c format specifier, then it will print small a, right? But here in the example, we have printed the value of ch variable using the %d format specifier. Okay, so when we are trying to print any character using the %d format specifier, right, then in that printf, the result of that printf would be the ASCII value of the character. So here as the output, the ASCII value of the A will be printed. Okay, now next is ch is equal to z minus 1. Okay, so actually it is a character, right? But still we can perform the arithmetic operation because z has certain ASCII value. Okay, so z minus 1. So from the ASCII value of z minus 1 will be performed, right? 1 will be subtracted from the ASCII value of z, right? And then you are storing the answer in this ch variable. Okay, so when you print this updated ch variable using this two format specifier, then %c will print y, right? And %d will print the ASCII value of this y, 121. Okay, so the character variable can be printed using %c also and %d also. When you print with %c, it will print the character, and when you use %d format specifier, it will print the ASCII value of that character. Okay, now the next statement is ch is equal to ch minus 32. Okay, so in the ch, small y is stored. And when you are subtracting 32 from that, it will give you the uppercase value of the same character, right? So here the output is capital Y. When you use this putchar function to print the value of ch, it will give you the uppercase letter or uppercase character. Okay, so 32 is actually the ASCII value of the white space. So when you subtract that white space ASCII value from the character, it will give you the uppercase of that character. Okay, now here in this next statement, to understand this, first we have to look at this declaration part again, right? So here the value of ch1 is 7, but 7 is actually a character. So if we want to convert this character into the actual integer, right? So what we can do in that case, we can just subtract the ASCII value of 0 from the ch1. Okay, so when you convert, when you apply this kind of arithmetic operation, right, then it will convert the character digit into the integer digit, right? So here the ASCII value of this 0 is 48 and ASCII value of 7, right, which is represented as a character is 55. Okay, so 55 minus 48 would be 7 and that 7 is an integer number. Okay, so when you print this value of p using %d format specifier, it is integer. Okay, now here in the str array, we have stored the string 1, 2, 3, right? This string is made of the character digits. Okay, so now if you want to convert this into the number, right, then you have to use this a to I function. So when you pass this str array into this a to I function, right, this 1, 2, 3 will be converted to the number that you can print using the %d format specifier. So you can see the output here. When you print the number variable using %d format specifier, then it will print the 1, 2, 3. Okay, so these are the certain kinds of operations that you can perform on the character. Okay, now in the next example here, if we want to print the ASCII value and its associated characters. Okay, so what I will do here, one character variable has been taken, right? Now the value of that character array would be from 65 to 122. Okay, 65 is the ASCII, 65 is the ASCII value of capital A, and 122 is the ASCII value of small z. Okay, and then after we are printing the value of this C using two formats, %4d means as integer and as character. Okay, and if you see the output of this, then the first one is %d, so 65, the ASCII value of capital A, and here in the place of %c, capital A will be printed. So the variable is same C, which is of the character type, right? But if you are assigning any value to it, right, so this will be considered as the ASCII value, and its associated character will be printed here. Okay, so here you can see that there is a table in which the ASCII value of all the capital and small case letters are there. Okay, so the ASCII value of the capital Z is 90, right? And the ASCII value of the small a is 97, right? And from 91 to 96, there are some random characters, right? So if you want to keep printing that characters, random characters, then you can do that. If the value of C is 91 to 96, then you can use the continue statement. So continue will skip those iterations, right? And your output will be from the 97 and small a. Now the next is how we can combine the strings, how we can do some operations or functions on these strings. Okay, so for that we'll see one program where we have to compare the two strings to find whether they are same or not. Okay, so we know we had discussed in the last lecture that we cannot perform the equal to or assignment operator on the two strings directly. Okay, we have to do it character by character. Okay, so here we will compare the two strings, right, to find out whether they are same or not, and we'll do the comparison character by character. Okay, so for this program, we have taken two strings str1 and str2. Okay, and the next is to take the input from the user. So we have used here getAs function. So using the getAs function, the value of str1 and str2 will be entered by the user at runtime. Okay, now what can be the logic to compare these strings? Okay, so we need to do it character by character basis, right? So we'll start the index from 0. Index will be incremented every time. Okay, and we have to do this comparison until one of the string reaches to its last character, null. Okay, so if the str of I is not equal to null, or str of 2 of I is not equal to null, right, means if there are still characters in the strings, it is not it has not reached to the null. So we have to perform this comparison. Okay, when any of the string reaches to the null character, we have to stop the execution of the for loop. Okay, so this is the conditions and initialization in the for loop. Now next is what what we need to do here, we have to check for the string same or not, right? So we'll do this comparison, that if one of the character of both the string is not same, right, then what we will do here, one variable has been taken f. Initially f is 0, Okay, and when any of the mismatched character found, we have to change the value of f to 1. Okay, if both the strings are same, right? So this condition will never be true, right? And f's value will remain 0 only. Okay, so when f is equal to 1, any mismatched character has been found, then you have to change the value of f, right? This f is considered as the flag variable, right? And we have to execute this break statement, because if any of the character which is not same has been found, then obviously we need not to check for the other characters. At that point, we know that these two strings are not same. Okay, so we have to break the loop. So break statement has been written. Okay, now it is possible that one of the string is AB and another string is ABC, right? So these two strings are still not same. Though both the initial two characters are same, but the obviously string size is not same, so we cannot consider these two strings as same. Okay, so with this condition that str of 1i is not equal to str of 2i, right, we have to check these two conditions also, that if str of 1i is equal to null or the second string reaches to the null, at that point also we have to execute this f is equal to 1 and break. Both the strings should end at the same point. The length of the both the strings should be same. If any of the string reaches to the null, then we have to do the break. Okay, so this is the logic using which we can compare the two strings whether they are same or not. Now this is the complete program, right? Here declare the two string character arrays, take the value from the user, okay? Then compare the two strings. If any mismatch character found, then change the value of f to 1. You can see here initially f is equal to 0. And if any non-matching character found, then you have to change the value of f to 1 and break from the loop. Okay. Now, after completion of this for loop, okay, after the completion of this for loop, if the f's value remains 0, right, that means these two strings are same. Okay, and if the value of f gets changed, right, then these two strings are not same, because value of f will be changed only if a non-matching character found. Okay, and here if you want that your strings in the output should be displayed in double quote, then you can use this kind of format. Okay, you can write this backslash and double equal to, right, if you want to print the double quote with the strings. Okay, so you can see the first output. If this first string is abcd and second string is abc, then it will print that these two are not same. Okay, in the second output, if first string is welcome and second string is also welcome, they are same. Okay, and if the first string is abc and second string is abd, then also they are not same. Okay, now we'll see one program. The aim of the program is the names of the students in a university are stored in three different arrays: first name, middle name, and last name. So these three are the character arrays in which the three names are stored of a student. Now we have to write a program to combine these three parts into one name called full name, right? So in this program, what we need to do, we have been given three character arrays, first name, middle name, and last name, right? That will represent the name of a student. Okay, and then we have to combine those three names and store into the one character array or string full name. Okay, so here we have to copy one string into another string one by one. Okay, so in this case, input would be three character arrays and output would be one character array. Okay, now here the example has been given that if the first name is Sachin, middle name is Ramesh, and last name is Tendulkar, right, then your output, which is stored in this full name character array, should be Sachin, Ramesh, Tendulkar. This should be one string. Okay, so we have to combine these three strings and we have to make one string out of it. Okay, so we'll see that how we can implement this program, right? So here the first step is obviously to declare the 4 strings, E for the input and 1 for the output. Okay. Now here you can see the size, that if the first name, middle name and last name are of 20 size, right, then the character array in which we are going to combine these 3 strings, right, should be 60. Right, this full name character array size should be able to accommodate all the characters of these 3 strings. Okay, so the maximum size of the full name is 60. Right, now next is to take the input from the user. Right, so here getAs function is used to take the value of the first name, middle name and last name. So here you can see that enter first name, so we have entered Sachin, middle name Ramesh and last name Tendulkar. Right, so using the getAs function we have taken our input. Now next is our output should be in the full name. So your output is full name string. So we will print the output string here, that full name is full name. So here the value of the full name is printed. Okay. So see, based on the aim of this program, we have implemented the program, right, in which we have just taken the input, we have just printed the output and all, right. But you can see here, without logic of the program, you will not get the exact answer that you want. Okay, we have taken the input, we have printed the output variable, that is all okay, right, but logic is missing, right. So without logic there is no meaning of displaying the output. Okay, so here in is this point, right, we have to write our logic so that full name will give you the correct output. Okay, so what can be logic for this kind of program? Okay, so now what we will do, actually the logic is what we have to copy one string into full name, then another string into full name. So one by one we have to copy 3 strings into the full name character array. Okay, but if you want to copy one string into the full name, you have to do it character by character basis. Okay, so here you can see that first name 0 in which S is stored, then in first name 1 A is stored, like this. So in the first name 6 would be null character. So this will indicate the end of the first name string. Okay, and here we have full name array. Initially there would be no value or the some garbage value, right, and those values should be replaced with the values of the first name characters. Okay, so now here you can see here the index. First name 0 should get copied to full name 0. First name 1 should get copied to full name 1. First name 2 should get copied to full name 2. Okay, so the indices of both the character arrays are same. So here we can take one variable I is equal to 0. So that will be for the indices. Okay, it will be incremented by 1, right, and we have to copy the characters of the first name to full name. Okay, so how many times this procedure should be repeated? So until the first name is null. Okay, so when we encounter the null in the first name string, we have to stop there the for loop. Okay, so here if the first name of I is not equal to null, then we have to execute this statement, right? But when it is equal to null, we have to stop the execution of the for loop. So this would be our condition. Okay, now here this statement, it's quite simple that first name of I should get copied to full name of I. Okay, so when I is equal to 0, first name of 0 would get copied to full name 0. Then I will be incremented, and first name of 1, it is A, not the null. So condition is true, and first name of 1, which is A, would get copied to full name of 1 A, right? So after the execution of this for loop, this will be the values of the full name character array elements. Okay, now after copying these 5 characters of from the first name to full name, right, then we need a space, right? So what we can do here, that the next element of the full name should be given the value space. Okay, so what would be the position of that? So its position will be stored in I, because when I is incremented and it becomes 6, right, then at that time this condition will be false, right? That first name of 6 is equal to null, right? So that condition will be true. So this condition will get false, is not equal to null. Okay. So when I is equal to 6, this condition will become false, right? So that at that place, I is equal to 6. So full name of 6 should be given the value of space. So we have to assign this space to full name 6. Okay, so that you can see here, right? We have given this space at the place of full name 6. Okay, so value of I would be 6, right? Now the next string, which is middle name, right? That should be the characters of that string should get stored from full name 7. Okay, so the next string character should be stored in full name of 7. From there the assignment should be placed, should be happened. Okay, so what can be the logic for that, right? So here you can see that middle name of 0 is R, middle name of 1 is A. So here the indices starts from 0. Okay, but here the place where we have to store the characters of middle name, so that indices starts from 7. Okay, so middle name of 0 should get stored in this full name 7, middle name of 1 should get stored in this 8. Okay, so we need two variables actually to keep the track of these indices. So what we'll do here in the logic, we'll take j, which takes the value from 0, right, up to the index value, right, until it founds the null. Okay, so this middle name of 0 is not equal to null, that condition is true, right? And j plus plus, j will be incremented every time. So this particular indices is represented by this j. Okay, but what about this 7, right? So what we can write here, the middle name of j should get stored here. I is equal to 6 from the previous for loop execution. Okay, j is initially 0, so 6 plus 0 plus 1, that means 7. So in the very first iteration, middle name of 0 would get stored in full name of 7. Okay, and in the next iteration, j will be incremented by 1. So it would be 6 plus 1 plus 1, that means 8. So the middle name of 1 would get stored in full name of 8. Okay, so here the j will be initialized 0. It will take the values from 0 to 5 in this case in the middle name string, right? And all this character would get stored in full name, and the full names arrays index will be represented by this equation, I plus j plus 1. Here the value of I is will be same throughout all the iteration, right? And after this, what we need to do, we have to place the space at the end of the middle name string. Okay, so what we can do here, I plus j plus 1. Okay, j's last value is 6. So I is 6, j is 6, so 12 plus 1, 13. So at the place of 13, we have to place the space. Okay, so value of j would be 6, and the next string character should be stored in full name of 14. So that means last name's character should get stored here from this position. Okay, so we'll see the loop for that. Right, so here last name of 0, 1, 2. So these are the characters of the last name character array, and those should be copied to here. So how the assignment will take place? Last name of 0 should get copied to full name of 14. Okay, then last name of 1 should get copied to full name of 15. Okay, so for this indices we will take some k, right, which executes from 0 to this 8. Okay, until the last name of this 9 is null. So when it is not equal to null, when the last name character is not equal to null, then this for loop will get executed. Okay, and when it becomes null, the execution will be completed. Okay, so here the k will be used to keep track of the indices of the last name, right? But what about this 14, 15, 16? Okay, so this is true. Last name of k, it will take value from 0 to 8. But here we need to write this equation I plus j plus k plus 2. Because this I and j would be 12. I and j's value from the previous two for loops are 6. So 6 plus 6, 12. 12 plus 2, 14. Right? And here k is 0 in the initial, in the first iteration. Okay, so the last name of 0, which is t, will be stored in the full name of 14, right? And in the next iteration, when the value of k becomes 1, the last name of 1, which is e, would get copied to 6 plus 6 plus 1 plus 2. So that would be 15. So the next character would get copied to the full name of 15. Okay, so this is how this assignment will take place, right? Now this third string, last name, is the last string that we have to copy in the full name. Okay, so we have done the copy procedure by character by character. Okay, so we have stored all the characters in the full name character array. So the next step is what? We have to append null at the end of the full name. Okay, then it will be considered as a string, right? Because all in the previous 3 for loops, we have not copied the null character, right? So at the end of the full name string, we have to place null character. So what will be the location of it? Okay, so its location is 23. Right? So I is equal to 6, j is equal to 6, k would be what? So the value of k would be 9. So 6 plus 6 plus 9 plus 2, which is 23. So there we have to store the null character. So now the full name is a string. Okay, and that we can print using the putS function or printf function. Okay. Okay, so this is the complete program, right? The 3 variables, that integer variables that will keep track of indices of the 3 character arrays. First name, middle name, last name, and full name. These are the character arrays in which we can store these strings, right? These 3 are our input. This one is the output. So when there are input arrays, we have to take the values, and full name should be given the values according to the logic. Okay. Now we have to take the value of these 3 character arrays. So it would be Sachin, Ramesh, and Tendulkar. Okay. Then this first for loop is for copying the characters of first string to the full name destination string, and then we have to append the space. Okay, next for loop is for copying the characters of middle name to the full name, and again we have to append the space. And the the last for loop is for copying the characters of last name character array to full name, and after this third for loop we have to append the null character to indicate the end of the string. Okay, and then we can simply use the putS function to print the full name to check our answer. So Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar is the output of this full name. Okay, so this is it for today's video.
Everybody clear with the concept?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So can we start with the practical 8.1? या आप लोगों को ब्रेक चाहिए थोड़ा सा 5-10 मिनट का? Do you require break or can I continue with it? Anyone? कंटिन्यू करो ना तो ओके फाइन. नॉर्मल पहले हम लोग प्रैक्टिकल लिस्ट देख लेते हैं. In practical number 8 there are 3 sub practical. Okay, so today we will do with the practical 8.1. So 8.1 का aim क्या है आपको? You need to take a user input for a string and calculate the number of alphabet digits and special characters from the given inputs. Like suppose मैंने स्नेहा 14 डाला है as a string. Okay, so आप लोगों को टोटल कैलकुलेट करके बताना है कि among my whole string कितने नंबर्स अल्फाबेट्स है, कितने नंबर डिजिट्स है, एंड इज देयर एनी स्पेशल कैरेक्टर विच आई हैव यूज्ड और नॉट। ठीक है, ये आपका टास्क है 8.1। तो उसके रिगार्डिंग पहले मैं वीडियो स्टार्ट कर रही हूँ। जिसको आइडिया आ गया है तो दे कैन स्टार्ट पैरेलली, आप लोगों को कोडिंग भी अपना स्टार्ट कर दे सकते हैं। तो हमारा 8.1 टास्क होगा आज का। ओके,
Hello dear students, myself Ruchita McQuan, and in today's lab we are going to study practical 8.1, which is related to character arrays and strings. So the practical definition for this goes like this. You are supposed to take a user input for a string and calculate the number of alphabets, digits and special characters from the given input. So a similar practical like this we have studied in practical 7.1 as well, wherein you were supposed to count the positive numbers, negative numbers, odd numbers, and the even numbers. So here we are going to perform the practical with the concept of string and the logic to find out the total number of alphabets, digits, and special characters. So let's suppose this is your program input. So here, this is taken as a string input. So in the process, you need to write the logic to check condition for finding the number of alphabets, digits, and special characters. And as an output, you need to print like this, that total number of alphabets in this example is 15, number of digits is 0, and special characters is 3. Okay, so this is an example program wherein you just need to count the alphabets, digits, and special characters. Now, to perform this practical, we first need to start with the program input. So let's start first with the program input. Okay. So as a part of program input, you need to scan a string, right? So to scan a string, we first need to define a character array. So let's suppose this character array is defined as this. This character array is for the input string of size 20. Okay, so this is the character array. So a string will be stored in the character array. Okay, uh, there are a number of ways for declaration of string, but we are taking the user input at runtime. That's why we have taken the character array of a predefined size. You can again take the global variable and define the maximum size for this array. So this is how you will be declaring the you can say the character array. And now to take the user input, you can either use scanf. For string, the format specifier is %s, and you will scan the input string. Okay, so this is how you are going to scan the input string using scanf. Okay, now you can also scan the user input with the help of uh, getS and putS as well. So here you can print like enter string, and the same thing you can do with the functions putS and getS. So putS, enter string, these are specifically for strings, right? And getS, and you just need to pass the variable name, and the variable name in our case is input string. Okay, so in this way you can take the user input. So this is method 1, this is method 2. Okay, note that we are not using ampersand while scanning the strings. Okay, so just like printf will be just using the format specifier and the variable name. Okay, so this is the first step that you are going to do. You need to take the user input. Okay, now for the next step, see, there are a number of ways in which you can find the number of total alphabets, number of total digits, and special characters in this particular program. So we are going to see few methods for the same. So we can check the condition for counting the number of alphabets, digits, and you can say special characters. Okay, so first, as a part of user input only, we are also going to define few variables. So that variable alphabets equal to digits equal to special care equal to 0. So this will be the counters for alphabets, digits, and special characters. Okay, so now you need to first check whether uh, whether the input string contains characters from a to z or capital A to Z to count the number of alphabets. Okay, with the first way in which you can count the number of alphabets, digits, and special characters. So first, we need to check each and every element in the character array till it reaches the end of the string. Okay, so we need to compare whether it belongs to alphabet, it belongs to digit, or it belongs to special character. So we need to compare each and every element of the character array. So for that, we will be using a loop. You can use any loop, and you need to go till the condition like input string of I is not equal to null. So this will be the test condition, you can say, to check till the end of the string. Okay, so this will act as the test condition. You can use any of the loop, and accordingly you need to initialize this I variable and then perform increment and the decrement. Okay, so now for first you can check like input string of I is greater than or equal to A. Okay, so that will be the first thing, and it should be less or equal to Z. So here we are directly comparing the characters. So this will be less or equal to Z. Okay, now the input string can be uh, in input string can contain alphabets either in uppercase or the lowercase. So here we need to also check for the condition when the alphabets can be in the uppercase. So we will be using an or condition. It can be either small a or capital A, or in between A to Z it can be any uppercase or lowercase letter. So this will be input string of I greater than or equal to capital A, and an input string of I should be less or equal to capital Z. So this is the first condition, and you need to then accordingly increment the counter. So if this condition is true, we will increment the counter for alphabets. So we have taken the variable alphabets. So we need to increment the counter for this. Okay. Again, we need to check the condition for digits. So here we are going to check like in the else if part, like input string for digits, it should be between 0 to 9. So it should be greater than or equal to 0, and the input string should be, the input string of I should be less or equal to 9. So if this condition is true, then you need to increment the count for digit, and the variable is digits. So digits plus plus. And in the else part, you can just increment the you can say special char variable, because if it is not digit, if it is not alphabet, then it will be a special character. So this is the first way you can check, like whether the input string is having how many alphabets, how many digits, and how many special characters. Now we will be checking a second method, and in that we are going to use some different condition. So compare the same with the help of ASCII values. Okay, so the ASCII value, sorry. Okay, so the ASCII value for, okay, so ASCII value for small a is 97 and small z is 122, and for capital A it is 65, and for uh, capital Z it is 90. So you can compare the elements in the string in this way as well with the help of ASCII values. So again, you can also use ASCII values for the digits. So for the digits 0 to 9, the ASCII value is 48, and for 9 it is 57. So you can check between the range 48 to 57. But remember, these are the ASCII values. Okay, this is what we are making the comparison with the help of ASCII values. Okay, so this is also one of the ways in which you can count the number of alphabets, digits, and the special characters. Okay, now if you don't want to write this many conditions, you don't want to check in this way, so we are having, okay, so this is method number 2. Okay, and again we are having one more method wherein we can check the number of alphabets and the digits. Okay, you can directly use the method is alpha. Okay, and whether, and in the input you need to give the variable input string of I. So again we are going to compare each and every value of the string. So if this is not equal to 0, then you are going to increment the count. Okay, so if it is not equal to 0, means a match has been made, it is an alphabet. So this function is alpha will directly check whether the entered character is an alphabet or not. So we again will be checking one by one for the same. And again for the digits, we are having the method is digit. Okay, so if is digit input string of I not equal to 0. Okay, so again you need to increment the counter for digits, and if it is not alphabet, it is not digit, then in the else condition we will increment the count for the special character. Okay, so this is the simplest one, and to use the functions is alpha and is digit, you need to include the header file stdlib.h, since these functions are available in this header file. Okay, so you can directly check it in this way also. Okay, so I hope you have understood the program logic, and the last step is you are just going to print the count variables. So the count variables are alphabets, digits, and special character. So these three count variables you just need to print. So it will give you the total count for all the three cases. Okay. So that's it for this practice. I hope you have understood.
Any doubt in 8.1? If no, then please start your task for 8.1. Okay.